Today, we're diving into something you probably didn't expect. How Gary Gensler and the SEC are actually doing good work for crypto. Now, before you pick up stones to throw at me, hear me out. Gensler isn't exactly the hero in crypto's story, but the SEC has been busy cleaning up scams and pushing crypto further into the mainstream. Mr. X has shown us a reality of what's actually going on at the SEC. Watch this video to the very end to find out the exact truth behind the SEC. Am I taking a 180 on Gary Gensler? Let's get it. I'm not a financial advisor. Welcome to BitBoy X. I'm your host, the BitBoy. If you appreciate getting behind the scenes truth into the world of crypto and three-letter agencies that you just can't get anywhere else, especially in crypto YouTube, then smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more. So let's get into the SEC and what they've been up to. So they've been filing a lot of lawsuits to a lot of companies. So let's start with the big dogs. The SEC, they have targeted giants like Ripple and Binance, two cases that have sent shockwaves through the entire crypto world. We know Ripple has been one of the most talked about cases, with the SEC accusing them of offering unregistered securities. But here's the kicker. Ripple already defeated the SEC in court. While it's under appeal, I urge you to remember my message to you about the appeal. It doesn't matter. If you want to see why it doesn't matter, check out this video link right here. The Ripple case has been massive. Coinbase and Binance too. They've been taking the heat for the entire crypto space. Now, these actions by the SEC, it shows their focus on regulating the big names in crypto. And speaking of Binance, it's worth mentioning the CFTC and DOJ have already settled with Binance. CFTC hit them with fines for violating derivatives trading laws, and the DOJ settled matters involving anti-money laundering violations. It's also important to mention that CZ, crypto folk hero and Binance's CEO, went to prison as part of the settlement, but he's already out, showing you it really wasn't a huge deal in the end. So while the SEC's case is still ongoing, Binance has been making efforts to settle things with other regulators. Now, don't forget about Celsius and Coinbase. These guys were also on the receiving end of the SEC's crackdown. The big theme here, the SEC is laser focused on making sure the biggest names in crypto follow the rules. And somewhere along the way, we lost the plot. We thought that we were so trendy and important in crypto that TradFi, or traditional finance, they were just going to adapt to us, the new standard, right? Wrong. It was always going to be the other way around. We were so naive. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Even with all this enforcement, Gary Gensler played a major role in approving Bitcoin ETFs. Yeah, you heard me right. The SEC is opening up doors for crypto in the traditional financial space. This is a big deal because it shows that despite all the enforcement, Gensler and the SEC are still willing to let crypto mature and integrate with the rest of the financial world. Gensler himself was the deciding vote. Most of the vote went along party lines. 2 Democrats voted against it. 2 Republicans voted for it. And Gary Gensler crossed party lines for the final approving vote. Kudos to you on that one, Gary. The question is, why did Gary cross lines? I think we all know. Remember my little trip to Washington, D.C.? Yeah, I held up a sign pushing for Bitcoin ETF approval. We all had a good laugh about it, but guess what? It actually happened. Here's a clip from my trip to D.C. to get the ETF approved.
Guys, I'm not leaving until the Bitcoin ETF is approved.
We're doing good work on this channel too. But what this all really shows is how much the SEC is influencing what happens in the crypto world. In crypto, we got out of line. We missed the steps. You have to build trust from the mainstream market before you can bring in the mainstream market.
So is your argument that you're doing this to make crypto stronger?
We're again merit neutral. Crypto is only a small part of our capital markets. I mean, it's a little less than 1% of the world capital markets. But it's basically to instill trust and protect investors. Look at the leading lights in this field, in the crypto field just 2 years ago. A number of them are in jail right now. And I'm not just talking about SBF. I mean, a number of others. Yeah. And there's been tens of billions of dollars of losses and bankruptcies and so forth. What field in America, innovative field in America, survives without building trust in that field?
Gensler said it himself. The SEC's job is to protect the market, whether it's by going after fraudsters or making sure crypto projects are following the rules and paying their fines. His focus is on keeping things safe for everyday investors. If we don't like it, protecting retail investors is part of Gensler's role. And whether you think it's overkill or not, it's clear the SEC isn't going to stop anytime soon. Now, let's be real for a second here. Gensler is not winning any popularity contests in the crypto world. But even though he's not exactly the hero, he's made a real impact when it comes to busting some serious crypto scams. Let's start with the obvious ones. BitConnect.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
The SEC brought charges against BitConnect, and the DOJ indicted its founder for orchestrating a $2.4 billion Ponzi scheme that defrauded investors worldwide. This was one of the largest crypto frauds in history, and the SEC was instrumental in bringing it to light, holding them accountable. And SafeMoon, geesh. I tried so hard to warn people, and it wasn't enough. This was all the way back in August of 2021.
So if you got in super early, you'll get rewarded more than if you just got in now. Again, SafeMoon is literally the definition of a Ponzi scheme. New buyers pay those already involved with a percentage of transaction fees, and old users sell out. But if the buying stops, then you're not only left holding your current bag, but you'll no longer receive rewards.
Gensler and the SEC have taken down a lot of scams that you guys have heard of. But this list of SEC actions against crypto companies, it shows you have not heard of most of these. And most of the SEC cases are pretty legitimate. There are some that have definitely been over the line. But many of these that you've looked at on this list is great work by the SEC protecting investors. And while we give them a lot of credit for that, let's also not pretend that they're perfect. Remember the FTX fiasco? Gensler had meetings with SBF before everything blew up. And people are right to question how he could have missed that. Mr. X says Gensler might have been part of a rogue group working against crypto that went all the way up to the White House. Either way, it's a glaring oversight. But even if he missed FTX, the SEC has done incredible work cleaning up the space in all reality. Check this example out. Just look at Novatech. They were running a Ponzi scheme, defrauding over 200,000 investors. Now, I told one of my friends that Novatech was a scam after his father-in-law invested in it. And sure enough, the SEC stepped in and took them down. We've got the receipts to prove it. Here are the screenshots from our conversation, and you can see I tried to warn him. And this is a company, an outright Ponzi scheme, that the SEC went after. Here are the facts, guys. We only tend to focus on the larger cases, the ones that are eye-catching and grab your attention. These are the companies with pockets big enough to pay huge settlements for enforcement actions. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's almost like a tax for being early in the space sometimes. And now that TradFi is here, they want their cut, their pound of flesh, and they want it in dollars for now. And the question is, what do they do with that money? What does the SEC do with it? I guess they split it up and keep it. Not exactly, but kind of. All the SEC enforcement money stays in the SEC. And they get enough money in their coffers to go after the real scams and the Ponzi schemes, which is the majority of the work they're doing. The ones you do need to be protected from, the Novatechs, the BitConnects. So why is the SEC doing this? To get their government cheese, and also to actually protect us from scams. For real, that's true. Good job, SEC, and my buddy Gary. And I will tell you, I'm being serious here. If I never get the opportunity to have a friendly conversation with Gary Gensler in real life, I will be very disappointed. By the way, if you're into these kinds of insights, you can only get from someone with almost 13 years of experience in crypto. You have to stay updated. Subscribe to the NWF newsletter to get the latest on crypto, finance, and the upcoming BitBoy Bootcamp maggots. We're not just talking. We're here to help you navigate this space and crush it. Sign up now for free. So what do you think? Has the SEC gone too far, or are they making the crypto space safer? Let me know in the comments below. I've also not been kidnapped and I'm not an alien. I want to hear what you guys think about all this. And don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe. Stay tuned for more deep dives into what's really going on in the crypto world. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.